So I got this email the other day. Someone asking for advice between the Dyson Gen5 Detect and Gen5 Outsize. He wanted to know which I'd pick if I had a 2,200 square foot home, half carpet, half porcelain tile, and 3 cats running around. He was locked in these two models because in his mind, they're Dyson's latest and greatest. But he couldn't decide. The Gen5 Detect was lighter, while the Gen5 Outsize comes with 2 batteries. If you're in the same situation, this video is for you. I'll walk you through how I helped him make an informed choice, using real test data, not marketing hype, and explain why neither of those Gen5 models might actually be the best fit for his home. Now whether he ended up buying one of the Gen5 models or the V15, which is what I actually recommended, doesn't really matter. What matters is why he made that choice. See, many people jump straight to the newest model, thinking that newer automatically means better. But that's not always true. The key is doing your research, looking past the flashy marketing, and actually understanding how these vacuums perform in real-world situations. That's where my testing data comes in, because numbers don't lie. And sometimes, the model you least expect ends up being the best fit for your home. I put every cordless vacuum I test through a pretty grueling set of experiments. We're talking power, runtime, cleaning performance, filtration, and even ergonomics. Everything that actually matters in real-world use. For power, I don't just rely on specs. I measure suction using a water lift gauge and Y gauge, and I track airflow with an anemometer. That gives me the raw numbers, how strong the vacuum really is, not just what the box claims. Then I run each unit from a full charge all the way down to empty, testing it on both bare floors and carpet, across every power setting. It's as close as you can get to everyday use, only way more controlled. Next, I throw different types of debris at it: Quaker oats, quinoa, pet litter, coffee grounds, sand, and of course hair, to see how well it actually pick things up across surfaces. For filtration, I got a fog machine test. Basically, I fill the dustbin with fog to see if the seal holds up. If that fog leaks, that means dust and allergens are escaping back into your air. If it stays inside, the filtration system's doing its job. And finally, ergonomics. I use each vacuum regularly, in both stick and handheld modes, because comfort and balance matter just as much as power. Now when it comes to raw suction, the Gen5 Outsize came up on top, hitting 83 inches of water lift. The Gen5 Detect and V15 Detect weren't far behind, coming in at around 75 and 65 inches of water lift respectively. When I tested airflow, the results were interesting. The V15 Detect had the highest airflow at the nozzle, 69 CFM, which is almost 10 CFM higher than the Gen5 Outsize, and about 7 CFM more than the Gen5 Detect. Now looking at the cleaning test results, the Gen5 Outsize came out on top overall. Not surprising given its high suction, but the added weight negates this advantage. But the V15 Detect wasn't far behind. It outperformed the Gen5 Detect by the slightest margin. I'm talking less than 1%. That's how close it was. Even in hair pickup tests, the results were neck and neck. When you factor in performance and price, it doesn't make sense to choose the Gen5 Detect over the V15 Detect, especially if cleaning performance is your primary concern. And that was one of this gentleman's biggest concerns. Now let's talk about something just as important: runtime. This is where things got a little surprising. The test numbers didn't quite match what Dyson's marketing claims. Based on my own tests, the V15 Detect actually beat Dyson's 60-minute claim by more than 20 minutes. That's impressive. Dyson says the Gen5 Detect can run for about 70 minutes, so naturally, I was expecting it to hit maybe 90, just like the V15 did with its 20-minute bump. But that wasn't the case. The Gen5 Detect crossed the 80-minute mark, which is still solid, but again, the V15 Detect managed to outperform expectations. Another reason it's hard to justify paying more for the Gen5. As for the Gen5 Outsize, it ran just a minute shorter than the Gen5 Detect. But here's the thing, it comes with 2 batteries, which basically doubles its runtime to nearly 160 minutes total. That's plenty for a 2,200 square foot home. The trade-off though is weight. It's noticeably heavier, and if you plan to use it on furniture and stairs, That bulk starts to feel like a workout. Filtration isn't a problem with any of them. All three pass the fog test with zero leaks. In terms of noise, they're almost identical, each crossing the 80 decibel mark in the max mode. So no big differences there. So what do all these numbers really mean? When you line up price, cleaning performance, and runtime, the Dyson V15 Detect still gives you the best bang for your buck. It's not the most powerful on paper, and it doesn't technically have the longest claimed runtime, but in real-world tests, it delivers where it counts. Sure, it didn't score the absolute highest in cleaning tests, but the differences were tiny, less than 1%. So for that small trade-off, you're saving a decent chunk of money. Plus, the V15 Detect exceeded its runtime claims by over 20 minutes. Just to clarify, that 80-minute figure is in the lowest power setting using the laser slim roller on hard floors. On carpet, expect around 20 to 25 minutes in the auto setting, which is completely normal. These tests are just meant to give you a baseline of what to expect. And remember, battery life will naturally go down a bit over time. For me, the Dyson V15 Detect still strikes as the best balance of price, cleaning performance, and usability. And honestly, I even prefer its tools over the ones Dyson introduced in the Gen 5 lineup. But that part's a bit subjective.